Joy. A big congratulations to both of the Eagles coordinators. They both got hired as head coaches this week. Defensive coordinator Jonathan Gannon, he is now head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. Meanwhile, offensive coordinator Shane Steichen, he is now the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. Skip, let's start with you on this one. What's your reaction to these hires?
Shannon Sharp. When I heard yesterday that Jonathan Gannon had been named head coach of the Arizona Cardinals, I just shook my head.
A lot of people did.
I hurt for Eric Bieniemy, but more important, I hurt for Steve Wilks. Obviously, Arizona wanted to go defense because with Cliff Kingsbury, they were all offense all the time. Afterthought was defense. So let's go get the best defensive coordinator out there. Wait a second. The Eagles were way overrated on defense. I kept telling you going into the game, wait, the Eagles defense gave up 40 points at Dallas to Dak Prescott on Christmas Eve. 40 points. And in the second half, they blew a 10-point lead, and they got toyed with by Andy Reid. They just got toyed with. They looked ill-prepared. They looked poorly coached in the second half on defense. Steve Wilks was, for 1 year, the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals, and they let him go. What are you doing? And then you just saw what he did at Carolina. They went on the best roll of any team all year. They had the best resurrection of any team under Steve Wilks, and they did not retain him as the head coach. And guess where he went? Your man Kyle Shanahan, with probably a little advice from his father, said, Steve Wilks, because we just lost a really good coordinator because he's going to be the head coach down in Houston. But let's go get Steve Wilks. Watch what Steve Wilks does with the 49ers defense next year. It will be hellacious great. It will be the best defense. I know the pieces are there. But watch what he does. He'll take it up even a little higher level as they get more experience.
But you know what, Skip? Those same pieces were there in Dallas. And you see what Dan Quinn did with them as opposed to the previous?
That's a very good point. So, look, the pipeline is leaking here. The system is broken on how this league identifies the next head coach candidate, because I'm looking at Jonathan Gannon. So he played at Louisville. He was a pretty good high school player, but he got hurt. And then Bobby Petrino was there. So Bobby gets the job in Atlanta. Didn't last very long. And he took Jonathan Gannon with him as a quality control coach. Well, you know what quality control is? You're a gopher. You get donuts and coffee.
In fact, you run up, you make sure that you get the play card laminated.
A lot of copying.
You copy them.
Okay, you're doing all the above. You're doing a lot of the grunt work. So he's quality control, and he's there, and then Petrino's gone, and he's kind of out of football for a year, and then he gets hired as a scout with the Rams, and he was a scout for a while with the Titans, and he keeps bouncing around, and he's always quality control. He was still quality control. He was the assistant DB coach in Minnesota and quality control all the way up to 2017. That wasn't that long ago. He's still doing quality control in Minnesota as the assistant defensive backs coach. And then he goes to Indy, and for a couple of years, he was also the defensive backs coach. And Frank Reich recommends him to Philly, obviously. And so they hire him. So for 2 years, he was the defensive coordinator in Philadelphia. And he proved exactly what? What did he do to qualify to be the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals? Well, I always tell you, with all these coordinators, there's nothing that they really do that equates to what it requires to run the whole football team.
You said, what did he do? Well, he was born to parents that had less melanin in their skin than Steve Wilks, Raheem Morris.
And Raheem's sitting out there. And by the way, for those who have forgotten, once upon a time, it was back, what was it, like 2006 or 7, he was the head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they had a 10-6 year. And then there was some issues internally. I don't know what happened, but I always liked him as a head coach, and I would give him a shot as a defensive-minded head coach.
What about the job that he did last year in taking the Rams? He actually won the Super Bowl.
He won the Super Bowl.
Skip, think about this here. Jonathan Gannon was not on the Cardinals' radar until he interviewed on Monday and got the job Monday evening. Now, how's that going to go over with Kyler Murray? Now, Kyler Murray, you're going to have to come up with somebody with a system that fits a 5'9.5", 5'10" quarterback that's coming off an ACL injury.
It's clear to me that Jonathan Gannon just hit it off with Michael Bidwell. That's what happened. You go out to eat, and you start talking. You have a lot in common, and Michael Bidwell starts saying, I like this guy. I'd like to hang with this guy, right? I'd like to have dinner with this guy every Friday night or whatever it is, right? That's how you get hired. But there's nothing that a lot of coordinators do to earn the right to be named a head coach.
What about Leslie Frazier? Mm-hmm. Look at the job that he's done in Buffalo the last 2-3 years.
Yep.
But see, the problem that I have, Skip, when black coaches are hot, they rarely get a chance to get a job. D'Amico Ryans was the exception this year. But look at what Jonathan Gannon, 1 year, boom, got a job. Steichen, got a job.
Yeah.
Byron Leftwich was hot last year. When Byron Leftwich's team won the Super Bowl, he ain't getting no interviews.
No.
Next year, they make the playoffs. He turned down the job. That's on him.
It was.
He got an opportunity. He turned down the job. Raheem Morris, hot as fish grease. Look at that defense last year, Skip.
Oof.
Ain't got no job. Jonathan Gannon had 2 years. A lot of people believe the Eagles' defense was overrated. It sure looked overrated in the Super Bowl.
It just did.
You led the league in sacks, and you came close to sacking Patrick Mahomes like once. You tripped him up.
Like once. Yeah.
So that's Skip. It's just frustrating. And Skip, look, you and I are one of the few shows that we take it every time that we get an opportunity, we talk about it. But sometimes, Skip, it's falling on deaf ears. They're going to hire who they want. This man, Skip, the man did not get interviewed till Monday. And he got the job on Monday afternoon. Normally they say, you know what, we interviewed him, he's going to get called back for a second interview, or he's going to get called back for a third interview. This man so you tell me this man hit it out the park with one interview? One.
Apparently.
Man, this is embarrassing.
And his credentials are what exactly? Help me out. They are what?
It's that no matter what, it's never going to be good enough. It's never going to be, Raheem Morris, look at what he has. He has Aaron Donald. Hell, Bill Belichick got a job, head coaching job. He had LT. He had the greatest defensive player.
He did.
That didn't hold him back.
Yep.
How many guys have gotten jobs that coach Tom Brady? Ain't nobody know that he coached Tom Brady. We find out later it's more Tom Brady than your play calling. Mm-hmm. How many guys got jobs because of Brett Favre? Mm. Everybody in Green Bay that was a coordinator or receiver coach got a job.
They did.
Every last one of them. Yeah. It's just like the defensive guys that got jobs at Baltimore because of Ray Lewis. Mm. Okay, you're going to have great players. You like to have great players. The more of them you have, the better your chances are. But it seems like that they use Raheem, how good is he? He does have Aaron Donald now. Mm. How good is Byron Leftwich? He does have Tom Brady. Well, you ain't asked that about Charlie Weiss. Mm. You ain't asked that about Bill O'Brien.
No,
you didn't ask that. You didn't ask that about Josh McDaniels.
You did not.
Because all I know is that when they got places and they didn't have Tom, how they look.
Help me out here. Raheem Morris, would he not have a better shot at connecting with Kyler? Because the head coach needs to reconnect with him, right?
Absolutely.
Would he not have a better shot? Because Raheem's, he has a real charisma level to him. Have you been around him at all?
Okay. I know him a little bit.
He's got a cool factor to him. I just know that his ability to communicate with that quarterback, even though he's a defensive guy, you need to have a connection with that quarterback.
That's the most important. That's the marriage. That's the husband and wife or whatever you want to do. That's the relationship. That's the most important. Skip, they said that Kyler Murray would have a say in hiring of the next head coach. Ain't no way in hell they ran this by Kyler Murray. A defensive-minded guy with an offense, with a...
I mean, that's laughable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. He better have a say in who the coordinator is, because the coordinator is going to be now everything to this franchise.
Yes.
It's going to come down to who do you pick, because you better let Kyler bless that.
Yes.
You're going to have a problem.
I don't have no problem with Steichen getting a head coaching job, Skip. You look at what he's done. Now, like you said, we don't know what type of guy. We never know. I mean, a lot of coordinators get jobs and they fail. They're better at coordinators than head coach. But you look at the job that he did for 2 years. But Byron Leftwich did a job just as good for 2 years.
I agree.
But it's frustrating. We're not getting.
Yeah, but Shane Steichen, I hear from people around the league that they like him. They think he's got a little bit of mental charisma, where they like some of the things that he has created for Jalen. He built an offense that really worked for Jalen. Now Jalen took it up 5 levels.
But I'm looking at the Colts offense. They were 30th in scoring, 17 points a game, 27th in QBR, under 37, 30th in yards per play. Well, you better get a quarterback. Ain't none of them guys. You prove Matt Ryan, it's over for him. The guy that they got in Texas, he can't play dead in a horror movie.
Davis Mills.
Yeah, the one at the Colts. He's from the University of Texas.
Ellinger.
Ellinger, Sam Ellinger. Mm-hmm. He couldn't play dead in the horror movie. No. So what you going to do? You better get your quarterback. And you better develop a scheme, not develop a scheme. What did he do? What does this quarterback do well? And develop a scheme around that, not your scheme. So I'll give him credit. He put Jalen Hurts in a great situation. And Jalen Hurts came out here to L.A. and worked with Tom House, and his arms surpassed his legs.
It did.
But
it has to.
This situation in Arizona, they could miss me all the way with all of that.
Just dumbfounding. What are you thinking?
Good. If they don't win 10 games in the next 4 years, I'm not shedding a tear. Let's go 49ers. Let's go Rams. Who else in that division? Seattle.
49ers.